Kaizen with the shop floor employees may reveal that we can reduce this 20-minute cycle time in half. The next 90-day action plan is generated and the team is off again. 90 days later, the team achieves its goals and it celebrates. So in this iteration, the team decides to tackle the cutting and the painting areas uptime. I'm using the term uptime to represent the percentage of time a machine is up and available for usage. If you see 100% uptime, it doesn't mean that the machine is being used 24 hours a day. It means the machine is functional and ready for use anytime it's needed.
Don't confuse this with percentage utilization, which is the percentage of the time the machine is actually in use.
So the team focuses on the uptime of their cutting and painting stations. We achieve the goals of 100 and 90% of uptime in the cutting and painting stations respectively. At this stage, the team has made the environment stable enough to begin laying down the groundwork to start building towards a takt time. There are 8 hours in a shift and 60 minutes in an hour. We subtract 60 minutes for lunches and breaks and daily machine maintenance, and we have a total of 420 minutes to produce per day. Divide 420 minutes by the 140 daily demand, and you get a 3-minute takt time. Now, with each iteration, the CEO wisely tells us to continue to refer to the ideal state map. He always makes sure that the team is focused on the final state they are attempting to build. The team keeps this in mind and realizes that in order to reach the ideal state map of a dedicated cell, they need to start focusing on shifting workers to balance cycle times to meet this 3-minute takt time. The state-of-the-art painting booth is a challenge because it's designed for large batches and the accounting department wants a quick ROI. So the work continues, and by the 5th iteration, the team is able to begin dedicating small areas solely to red skis. Only the large paint booth still services all product families and remains a shared resource. In order to create a stenciling area dedicated to red skis, we needed to shift 2 operators from the now overmanned tracing area. 2 operators in the Value Stream Mapping, or VSM team, agreed to move over to the red ski stenciling area. Take a moment to notice how the shop floor is starting to change. On the 6th iteration, the team continues to work on the cycle times of each station to meet the 3-minute takt time. By the 7th iteration, the team gets to the point where they've driven down cycle time per operator and feel confident by the next iteration they can work towards single operator stations. By the 8th round, the floor begins to take shape. Notice how much less clutter there is on the shop floor. Each station, except paint, now has a single dedicated worker. In this iteration, the team is also working toward establishing a pull system. Notice the supermarkets that were put in place right after the cutting and the painting areas. The team takes a look at the ideal state map and realizes in order to create a cell with flow, they must first master pull. By iteration 9, the team has grown frustrated with the paint booth dilemma. Painting takes seconds, and they've done as much Kaizen as they can do to reduce the setup times. We successfully reduced the paint booth setup times from 30 to 20 minutes. But the high-tech nature of the machine makes physical modifications prohibitive. One of the operators on the team suggests that we dust off the old manual paint stations that are sitting in the warehouse collecting dust. These were retired 2 years ago after the VP of Ops saw this new paint station at an expo in Atlanta. With a little cleanup of the manual station, they could be installed and ready for use. The CEO catches wind of this and confronts the team. He obviously wants us to make the best use of our high-tech investment. The team shows him the ideal state map and reminds him that the high-tech paint booth doesn't fit the model. The CEO reluctantly agrees. The team has proven to itself and the rest of the shop floor that the pull system they installed works great. And with this new/old manual dedicated paint booth, the team is ready to actually segregate the area and begin working in a production line. Prior to this, we had dedicated stations that were still in a process village format. Moving stations close together to create pull and then eventually flow is in line with our ideal state map. Now, finally notice that the team has demonstrated their improvements and feel confident to the point of increasing their shipment frequencies. They negotiate a deal with a customer who is more than willing to pay a premium for the daily deliveries. The customer is delighted because it's a win-win for both parties. He's happy because he doesn't need to dedicate valuable floor space to store a week's worth of skis. They take this money and apply it to the additional shipping costs associated with the more frequent deliveries of raw material fiberglass. Now, the Simplex Ski Company is shipping and receiving more frequently. By the next iteration, with growing confidence in the more frequent deliveries, production, uptime, and quality, the team feels it can decrease inventory across the system. Notice the radical change to the shop floor and the proximity of the stations to each other. In this next iteration, the team and the shop floor are now comfortable with using withdrawal and production Kanban. Now, because of the proximity of the stations, one of the team members asked if we can do away with cards between stations and create FIFO lanes, or first in, first out lanes. He argues that all the stations are stable enough to begin producing to a very small FIFO lane. This makes the team a bit nervous because this would eventually call for the significant decrease in WIP, which has kept the system running smoothly. But the team decides to take the training wheels off. The math proves out, and in the spirit of Kaizen and the ideal state map, the team decides to give it a shot, and all the stations except cutting and painting, which are still a bit unstable, are moved to a FIFO system. Cutting and painting will send their Kanban back to the beginning of the line where we're trying to establish flow. By value stream 12, the team decides to go with FIFO pull only. The only supermarket pull would be from the shipping department. Units shipped will trigger a Kanban to go back to the beginning of the production line and start production. By value stream 13, the team proves out the improvements and want to decrease inventory in the FIFO lane to none and begin exploring the dedicated U-shaped cell seen in the ideal state map. This is presented to the CEO, and he's very excited to see the concept prove out. The shop floor once again is rearranged and a cell is established. It's manned with the same 6 people, and they're very comfortable now working side by side. Kanban flow out of the cell to request raw materials and flow into the cell to trigger production. The system runs very smoothly. Now, by value stream 14, the CEO is very excited by the improvements we made. He wants to stop and move on to replicate this on the other product families. The same paint booth operator objects. He explains that there's still opportunity to drive to the 3-man cell and that abandoning the vision now would hurt morale. The CEO gives a thumbs up to continue. By value stream 15, the math proves out and they can decrease their 6-man operation to 3. The team drives down the cycle times of each of the work areas so 3 operators can now absorb the work previously done by 6. By value stream 16, they want to take on the challenge to rebalance the work. They decrease the cycle times of the stations within the cell and drive toward a 3-man operation. Now, rebalancing takes some time to get used to because operators are not used to running other pieces of machinery. A 3-man cell means that operators have to run multiple stations. The operators adapt pretty quickly because Simplex Ski Company has well-documented standard work. So by value stream 17, the 3-man cell is proven out and the team is ready to implement this across other product families. The team finds that an L-shaped cell works best for the blue and green product family, and a linear cell works best for the yellow product family. The cells are working well, and the last step is to get production control involved in this new mixed model system. So instead of sending a shipping list every day to the shipping department, production control now uses Kanban to control the pace and pulling of what is produced. This is done through a Hajunka board, which is located just outside the production manager's office.